Breaking right now, it's only taken years, but the Daily Mail has finally gone there, albeit in a very watered-down, sanitised version. But this from Liz Jones across the Daily Mail around the world today. Meghan's mood board spawned feverish speculation if she used a surrogate or wore a fake bump. These cruel whispers have been spread for years. It's time to address them. Well, I'm going to address this column by Liz Jones today with royal YouTube sensation according to Taz. But Tash, I was a columnist at the Mail for a number of years. I know how the mainstream media works, and this is their way of getting the Moonbump story, the Meghanancies out there, while at the same time they're having to do that. Oh, we're horrified about this. Of course it can't be true. Of course you're just a conspiracy theorist if you think this. Well, okay, why is it top of your website then? Feels like a significant moment, Tash. What do you make of it?
I think they're definitely adding fuel to the fire. These conspiracy theories have been going on for a long time. I believe Meghan, by adding that particular photograph to her, I don't really know what you call that board. It was less of a celebrating her anniversary, and it was more like a teenage girl's pin board, you know, when she's looking forward to going to college. But the fact that she included that picture, it's of course drawn more speculation back to the fact that not many people believe that Meghan was pregnant and she used a surrogate. And the fact that there are more and more people, like you said, in the mainstream media doing the whole shock horror, how dare people say these things? I think you're exactly right. I think it is people beginning to actually be more public about the fact that it does generally point into the direction that Meghan had a surrogate with Harry. Yeah.
Because what's so interesting is the sort of call to action, Tash, at the end of the article from Liz Jones, and we will go through it as I say, but it's to pressure Meghan and Harry to release a statement, to confirm. That's all I've been asking for a very long time. If you're not hiding anything, let's see the proof.
Come clean. It is a case of saying that, isn't it? It's saying, come clean. If you've got nothing to hide, then, then what's the big deal? But the problem is they've built up so many. This is Harry and Meghan themselves, not the media, not the public, not people like, myself or yourself on social media. Harry and Meghan have stirred up so much stuff from the moment that the pregnancy was originally announced. Of course, there is lots of speculation, which I've always found so bizarre from Harry, because lots of cruel rumours went about his childhood, that King Charles is not his father. And, those rumours are still going strong now. And I can imagine that probably upset him. But because of all of the games that they played with the media over the secrecy of Archie's birth, the doctors not signing the certificate, not using the Queen's doctors, it has, of course, created, I would say, even a more dramatic storyline, because the more it became obvious that they weren't telling the truth and these stories were coming out, the more Harry and Meghan were saying, oh, we're being targeted, we're being trolled. But you started the controversy by playing all of the games.
Oh, they did. They did indeed. And the fact that it's Liz Jones who has written this column, she was previously a big ally of the Sussex squad, has turned a bit in recent months. It is interesting. So let's go through it, Tash. This is how the mainstream media works. It's like, okay, we want to cover the story, but at the same time, we've got to hedge our bets and we've got to talk about the other people who are covering the story as if they're terrible people. So Liz Jones writes, it has prompted suggestions that her decision to post that particular picture was not rooted in whimsy, but to quash the unfounded rumours that have swirled from the moment she announced she was pregnant with her elder child in 2018 that she is not a real mom. Yes, you read that correctly. Over the past 7 years, conspiracy theorists have claimed that she has never been pregnant and that she wore a moonbump, a prosthetic belly, to pretend that she was. Some have even gone so far as to claim she hired a surrogate to carry both Archie and Lilibet, or even that she has hired two tots to help sell jam and flour sprinkles. These ludicrous theories are, of course, utterly baseless, but instead of putting out the firestorm, Meghan's latest pregnancy shot has lit the blue touch paper. Self-proclaimed social media sleuths have claimed her bare bump is too shiny, far too high, transparent, and even suggested you can see the straps of a prosthetic belly. They claim that even the ultrasound picture doesn't wash, as there is no hospital name, reference number, date, or ID. So let's just tackle that to begin with, Tash, because if we look at the bump pictures, and I've annotated them a little bit because I haven't done it actually. One of my producers has done it because he's a bit of an expert in this stuff. And he said you can see there that is the real line of her stomach where that white line is. And all of that area you see in the white there is connected to blur, which is because the image has been manipulated. Now, Tash, I'm sorry, I've been called a conspiracy theorist so many times over the past 5 years, right, since COVID, on a whole range of issues, and on virtually every single one of them, I've been proven to be correct. So I actually try not to use the term. I sometimes struggle, and I do, but I try not to use the term conspiracy theorist, because all I think a conspiracy theory means is you are digging down to reveal, to expose a cover-up that the mainstream media doesn't want to do. And if you look at some of the work that people like Lady Colin Campbell and Paula M have done, I mean, a lot of this is rooted in real facts. So I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet.
I mean, definitely. I mean, I speak from a woman. It's awkward for me to sometimes talk about this subject because I have not given birth myself. So I haven't been pregnant, but I have had a lot of friends and family members. I was there for one of my bestest friends. I was actually her birthing partner. I have been as close to birth as I'm willing to go. So I have seen pregnancy across multiple friends and family members over the years in every single stage, and it just never made sense with Meghan. So I'm talking from an opinion based, but I've also spoken to people that are midwives as well, people that have looked into the labour stories as well as these photographs. Dan, this picture is quite significant as well, because this is the only one that I have ever seen of Meghan with a bare stomach. She's not wearing clothes covering it up. And that's why I think that she's deliberately done this to stir it up. It's also a very dark photograph, isn't it? It's almost like a shadow. It makes it easy to manipulate. And I honestly don't think that this is going to dispel any rumours whatsoever that she used a surrogate and that is a Moonbump. But I'm torn whether this is Meghan deliberately stirring it up because she likes to stir things to get people to talk about it. But come on, this is Meghan that loves having her photograph taken. Do you not think if she honestly wouldn't have had her moments on the steps like Diana did, you know, she would have had pictures, photo shoots done like Demi Moore or even Beyonce when she was pregnant with the twins, covered in the flowers like they were the first women to ever experience pregnancy. And we didn't get any photos of Meghan being pregnant outside of, you know, obviously wearing clothes, apart from this brand new one, never seen before, the same as we're now beginning to hear the stories every podcast. She's got a new pregnancy story with every single episode. And of course, none of it adds up to the previous stories that we've heard from Harry or Meghan, or even when we date back to the mainstream media newspapers and people like yourself that were covering it in real time.
Well, yeah, because this is a thing, Tash, before any of the Moonbump speculation reached me, my reportage on all of this when I was executive editor of The Sun, and I got Buckingham Palace to respond on the record, was all about, I'm sorry, why did you lie to the world about the birth? Why did you lie about the timing of the birth? Why did you lie about the location of where you were? It was dodgy. Something stank. And you don't lie in a case like that unless there's something to hide. That's just the reality. And what I would argue is I would say the mainstream media haven't really done their job properly on this. over the last sort of few years. But look, let's go on with what Liz Jones had to say. She wrote, "Personally, I think a montage of photos collated by a grown woman is mawkish. But to think that Meghan and by extension Harry has embarked on an elaborate heist is ludicrous. There is no way such deceitful act, which ridicules our royal family as well as the British people, could be pulled off. We helped pay for their wedding in 2018. We waved them on at royal visits. I had sympathy for Meghan when she revealed she had experienced suicidal thoughts in that Oprah Winfrey interview in 2021. Meghan is a smart cookie. She knows what sells these days is authenticity, stories of personal misery. If she had been unable to conceive naturally and used a surrogate, we would have all been by her side." Now, Tash, that's where I have to cut in immediately, because that's where Liz Jones has got this one very, very wrong. Because absolutely not. If Meghan had admitted that, her children would not be in the line of succession. They might have an honorific title, but all she has ever wanted is for the kids to be in that line of succession so that her hopes of one day passing the British throne down through her line is not ruled out.
I don't know. There's a bit of me. I mean, I do completely agree with you, but I remember when the Queen changed a law back in 2013, and it was so if Princess Charlotte had been born first, that she would have been able to be Queen, rather than the old laws would have been if Prince George was second, he would have become king, because it's the patriarchy, it's passed down that way, and the law was changed. And there's a bit of me that thinks Queen Elizabeth was a very modern woman. And yes, it is a very, very old law. People had to witness if you were a virgin before you were even allowed into a royal marriage. There were countless people in the room, let alone obviously being, giving birth to a child that's going to be in the bloodline, and being in the royal succession. But I do wonder whether if Harry and Meghan had truly been honest, whether perhaps Queen Elizabeth would have thought about changing the laws to say, this is something that affects lots of couples. There are plenty of couples out there that sadly cannot conceive naturally. And I think in the modern world, perhaps something would have been changed. But it's the fact that I believe that Harry and Meghan have lied. In my personal opinion, I believe that they lied. And I believe that the royal family didn't join in on this big cover up. I think that they lied to the royal family. And by the time the royal family found out, it was too late, because what could they then do? Come out and say, well, actually, Harry and Meghan have lied. Could you imagine? Of course they wouldn't. And then they've had to go along with what I believe has been a bit of a lie.
Yeah, because Liz Jones then goes on to say she has been so open about her mental health and her miscarriage in 2020 that if she had had a problem with infertility, she would have put the issue front and centre. Only the most mean-spirited would have judged her. So yes, I agree, the bump is enormous. Meghan's angles didn't puff up in pregnancy. But clearly, she's just lucky. Maybe her Pilates sessions helped her to crouch effortlessly. Oh my goodness, I just imagine telling Lady Colin Campbell about that one. Now, Liz Jones goes on. As readers of my columns will know, I have not always been Meghan's most gushing advocate, but we must remember that she is a human being. These pregnancy whispers are going too far. And here's the key line, Tash. That is why I fear Harry and Meghan must be compelled to release a statement. That's all it would take to put out the wildfires. Harry has stood up for his wife against the mainstream press, but the relentless hounding from these amateur sleuths is far worse. Snuff it out now. Well, firstly, can I just say, Harry and Meghan did absolutely nothing when it came to their amateur sleuths in the Sussex squad, completely running a whole load of lies about Catherine, the Princess of Wales, when she was suffering from cancer, including their big-time favourite, Christopher Boozy, saying that even the pictures of her at the farm shop, even the BBC video announcing the cancer was using a body double. So it's like, for the suggestion to be that, the amateur sleuths are only on one side is utterly ridiculous. And actually, why should we just leave this to the mainstream media? The mainstream media has let us down time and again. on a whole range of stories. And this is a new world.
I think with Harry and Meghan constantly preaching about the truth and putting the truth out there, and misinformation and disinformation, this is a pretty huge story, really, isn't it? I believe it has been a big cover-up. Now, either way, personally, as I said, I think there's so many couples out there that do struggle with being able to conceive. And I think that the world would have rallied round them. They would have supported them. I think that Harry and Meghan could have done an absolute wonder for couples if they had been honest about it. But it's the deception, and it's how far it went. And it's just been everything to do with the children has been a continuous string of misinformation. And for a couple that say they want to protect their children, this is what I do not understand. They seem to court more controversy. There's more whispers about the children than what there ever were about Harry, with Diana, and James Hewitt being his father. And Harry and Meghan have actively courted all of this, from the silly games that they play with hiding them and photoshopping them. And then obviously with the birth, especially Archie, with, that she did give birth, and then she'd given birth, several hours before. She'd had 2 epidurals, and then she was home within 2 hours. And now we've learned that she'd suffered from dangerous, the eclampsia. And I'm sorry, no woman after 2 epidurals is just walking out of hospital a couple of hours later, sent on her merry way. I believe even one of the stories that Harry said the cord had got stuck around baby Archie's neck, as he said, "Push, my love, push." I mean, no doctor or midwife in their right mind would see a scenario like that and allow a husband to say to the wife, "Push, my love." It's every single story that's come out from both of their mouths has just created more of, like you said, I don't agree with the conspiracy, but it's raised a lot more questions. And Liz Jones, she's a real flag in the wind. I'll be honest, I didn't read the article because I don't read a lot of Liz Jones articles, because I'm like, oh, here we go. It's another sugary, sweet Sussex Squad style. So that's actually quite shocking. But I do agree with you. It is a way that I think you are beginning to see people in the mainstream media saying, come on, if you've got nothing to hide, just be honest. Put a statement out there. But then even if they did put a statement out there, who's going to believe anything that comes out of their mouths these days?
Very true. Now,
the latest debate intensified after commentary linked to the Daily Mail discussed renewed public interest in the so-called Moonbump theory. Columnist Liz Jones reportedly questioned why the Sussexes have never directly addressed some of the speculation, arguing that continued silence has only fueled even more rumors online. The discussion quickly exploded across social media platforms, with critics insisting that unanswered questions have allowed conspiracy theories to grow unchecked for years. Supporters of Meghan Markle, however, pushed back strongly against the commentary, accusing critics of crossing personal boundaries and turning deeply private family matters into public entertainment. Others argued that the royal family and the media have historically faced intense scrutiny over pregnancies, heirs, and succession issues, making any unusual public moment immediately subject to speculation and conspiracy theories. Despite this, the theories continue attracting attention because of the enormous public fascination surrounding Meghan and Harry. Royal commentators also note that the Sussexes' strained relationship with both the British press and the royal establishment has contributed to an atmosphere where conspiracy theories thrive. The lack of trust between the couple, the media, and parts of the public has created a cycle where almost every major event involving them becomes controversial. At the heart of this controversy is a much bigger issue about celebrity culture, royal fascination, media trust, and the public's obsession with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Whether people support them or criticize them, there is no denying that every headline connected to the Sussexes continues generating enormous attention around the world. The question now is whether Meghan and Harry will eventually address some of these long-running rumors directly, or whether continuing to ignore the speculation will simply allow the controversy to grow even larger online. What do you think? Should Meghan Markle publicly respond to the growing Moonbump discussion, or has the media already crossed the line by giving these allegations attention in the first place? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal news, celebrity analysis, and breaking commentary.